soaring along a lighted path. Round me the gods and angels smiled as I sailed past, ascending higher and higher and reaching a lighted ceiling through which my mind did shoot, bursting beyond all limits to the absolute, ascending higher and higher and
So for today's service, I picked up that famous saying of Jesus that I am going to read from the Gospel according to St. John. He writes that Jesus said, "In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you." Then said Thomas, "Lord, we do not know where you are going, so how can we know the way?" So here comes the very important saying. Of course, the earlier saying also that I read is not less important, but what I am paying more focus on to is here. Jesus answered, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to Father except through me." This is the area I will try a little bit. "If you had known me, you would know my Father as well. From now on, you do know him and have seen him." So here is a very important statement. Many different areas are there that is very important, but this one particular area, that no one can see Father without going through me. This is a very important thing. So when people, and it is about the foundation of the Christianity as a separate religion. Because when we talk about religion, we talk about separation, while we talk about differences. When we say Christianity means it is not Jewish religion that was being followed before, or the deviation that it came in some part of the world later on, they call it Islam, or the religions that are being followed, or faith or belief system and practices that are faith. In other part of the world, Confucius, Shinto, Tao, Vedic religion, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, no, not that. It is different. When we say it is Christianity means it is different. Every religion, they talk about that they are different. It is separate. It is not what you are talking about. Ours is a different way of looking at it. And of course that means everything included. The ideas, the belief system, and the practices. And when we talk about Christianity, it is very strongly rooted on this idea that I am the way, I am the truth. You have to pass through me to see the Father, that is the God. So reach God only through me, that is the way. And when it is taken in its literal sense, that we call dogmas, which is studied and thought of, analyzed rationally and taught, we call it theology. And when strongly held to this belief system, we call it fanaticism. But what it is, what really Jesus said. So I was trying to understand that, because I was not born in Christian family, nor I grew up in Christianity. But very fortunately, I have found a way of religious life where Christianity became a very warm, wonderful part of it. Through Ramakrishna, his life, his teaching, and seeing through his eyes and understanding the basic ground that we call the teachings of Vedanta or Upanishad, standing on that ground, trying to understand what is this message. And then I found that there are wonderful thought currents passing on and not coming only through Vedantic teachers or messengers, but even among from Christian teachers. So I was reading one of those talks and writings, and that was published in a major publication house, Huffington Post, in a few years back. There, I'm not mentioning the name of the teacher here because it is not that important who said what, but the idea, it struck me. According to him, he says that from his childhood as he was growing up as a Baptist, in a Baptist family, and strongly church-going family, all along this was the idea that without going through Jesus Christ or accepting Him as the Savior, you are very, very unsafe. That is the meaning. That is the meaning. That no one can see the Father and eventually be saved without going through me. That is Jesus Christ saying. He says that I am the way and the light and the life. So just those who are not following me and not accepting me, or according to the church doctrine, not believing, they are not to be saved or will not be saved, and they are risking their soul to stay or alienate from God or divine being for a long, long time, maybe for eternity. Worse still, they might be punished with the hellfire for a long period of time. So this was, he said that was from childhood he grew up with that. What is the meaning of believing in Jesus Christ? Because that is the fundamental idea. That you have to believe in Jesus Christ. You have to accept in Jesus Christ. And stay put here only. Promise that you will not ever go away from there. Then only he said that as a boy he grew up and he was accepting this, but when his thoughts became a little more mature, he came to this understand that this believing is about a literal believing. That means that constantly you keep praying your, according to, he said that in our Baptist way we call it sinner's prayer. So constantly keep praying sinner's prayer, repeat it again and again and again, and that is how you remain safe and be protected by God. So he came to realize that this is about living life in constant fear of God. You are under the threat of God, which is always over you, and keep praying the sinner's prayer, otherwise consequences, painful consequences. And you are under the threat of God, you are under the fear of God, and that is the belief. Belief means that is the belief. It is not about living your life. Your life is constantly, if you are a faithful, if you are a religious person, life is all about living in fear, which doesn't really match with your life. Because more you live your life, as you grow up, more you are fearful. You know that you are not really following every small details of what is said by Jesus or according to the church theology and all these things. And you are more fearful and you are constantly praying. So fear is growing, and more you are religious, it is more about fear. It is not about your life. So eventually, one day, he found out that he could no longer carry this burden of fear anymore. So he did that unthinkable, he gave up his belief. Belief means believing that this is what can save you, protect you. He quit his belief because he came to this conclusion that this belief was a belief in words only. It is not about believing in God. It is not about accepting God in life. It is about fearing God and therefore staying away or keeping him distant. And it is not your life really. So he gave up his so-called belief and he accepted God. He accepted God, and then he said that it was a relieving, it was a freedom, it was a wonderful experience, out of the world experience I had the moment I could really give up my so-called that official idea of what this belief and the faith meant. When he was free, when he looked around, when he accepted everybody, when he believed that all people, they are living in the God's watchful and benign eyes, when he could love everybody, accept everybody, irrespective of their different faith and other ethnic or color of the skin or any kind of differences, when he was relieved from all those ideological barriers and limitations, he could become a different person. And he could enjoy his life, and his life became, he felt that it is now with God, and now he is living with God. It is not about praying to God, save me, save me, save me. It was like accepting God in your life and believing that he is your Savior. And it is the same God whom everyone everywhere is believing, worshipping, praying in many different ways. When I read that, I was so, it is a much longer analysis, but I am not going there. But when I read that, I felt that, well, Sri Ramakrishna had a vision. Sri Ramakrishna had a vision. Sri Ramakrishna whom we follow as the prophet of harmony of all faiths, who has accepted all faiths as equal and true way to reach that supreme, divine, blissful state of realizing about our own divine being, who not only accepted, who practiced it, who realized it, and who preached throughout his life relentlessly to everybody. And his life was so wonderful that people of many different faiths, many different religions, they would come to him and loved him, and they felt like he is our teacher. A Muslim thought that he is teaching me Islam. A Christian thought that he is explaining me and making me understand Christianity, how to love Jesus. A Sikh will feel equally. He is not trying to influence anybody to change his way of thinking. Instead, he is enhancing their ability to understand what religion really was. So, that Sri Ramakrishna's message, I felt that he had a vision and he told it to not Holy Mother but one of her followers, the close companion, Joginma. Her name was Joginma. He said that I am sorry, I am a little bit, I make a difference. Joginma saw a dream. In that dream she saw a spiritual dream, vision, that Sri Ramakrishna is being surrounded by thousands and thousands and people all around him, and they were not of the kind of Indian people. They were all different kind of population and people. Sri Ramakrishna also had a similar kind of vision, and he also had mentioned that to Holy Mother, that he saw that there are his children and his devotees everywhere, all over the globe. And we have got many wonderful incidents found out where people had vision of Sri Ramakrishna who had never seen the picture of Sri Ramakrishna or anything, and they got the real direct vision of Sri Ramakrishna and his message. What it is about, that this religion is not limited and restricted in the way that our doctrines and theologies, they try to tell us. Religion is about one universal wisdom, a way. When Jesus Christ says that I am the way, he is not mentioning about the narrow view of I means this particular physical body. What he was mentioning is that this is the God's special grace that has come down on earth, that in the Vedic religion they clearly and openly they talk about, called the God incarnated in human body. In Sanskrit it is called avatar. Avataran means or coming down. So that which is the supreme being, that whom we call the God or Father in heaven or Allah or Ishvara, Bhagavan, he leaving his high abode comes down on earth. Why we say come down? Why you don't say comes up on earth? Because to live with us, our life, our very limited, inefficient, ignorant, tainted life that we ordinary human beings, we know about ourselves. When we look upon the great spiritual figures, then we know very well where we stand, what is our status. spiritually speaking, where we stand. Then we say that this is much, much lowliest status, being a human being, and even God, out of His infinite grace and infinite mercy, He comes down, because this is so lowly. So He comes down on earth, and that's why the Sanskrit word is avataran, means step coming down. And then He comes down and He appears. This is a special manifestation of the divine. The manifestation in the form of a human being. There are two major religions in the world that believes in this. One is Christianity. In Catholic religion especially, that Jesus Christ, though He is theologically He is the Son of Father, God is not He is the Son, of course, but the status or the way He is looked upon or considered to, and the whole focus and attention paid, it is equivalent to the way the second religion, that is the Vedic religion, the Upanishadic religion, they talk about the avatar or God incarnate. So these are the two religions where in human body the appearance of godly divinity or special grace or the glory or the power, the authority, the special manifestation have been recognized. These two places. The Upanishadic religion, which was there thousands and thousands of years, even before Jesus Christ was born. But there is a difference. The difference is that in Christianity, okay, there were prophets before Jesus Christ. Though they were never equivalent to Jesus Christ was very special manifestation, even in Catholic religion. Other than Catholic religion, Protestant religion, they don't take it in exactly that way. In Protestant religion, it is the Father and Son, they have got a huge amount of difference between them. But this particular prophet, or the Son of God, even if he is paid that kind of a special status that he is almost equivalent to God. Yeah, theologically these three are three in one. Trinity. The Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost. In some places it is called the Father and the Word and the Son and the Holy Ghost. Even these three accepted theologically as one, and even in Catholic religion, when Jesus Christ is equivalent to how it is defined in Upanishadic religion as the God incarnate in human body, after Jesus Christ it comes to an end. Though theologically there will be a second coming. But where, when, no one knows, and you cannot claim that here is the second coming. And there is no mention of third coming, fourth coming, many more comings. No. But in the Vedic religion, in the Upanishadic religion, it is different idea. The idea of the God who is connected with this creation, as soon as you accept creation as a real, something real. It is not of the non-dual Vedantic philosophy, Advaita, where the creation is, in its ultimate sense, again unreal. It is only temporarily, for the time being, so long as you are not illumined to realize your oneness with the supreme, all-pervading, pure consciousness, which is known as Brahman. When you realize that oneness, then the creation drops off like a illusionist has shown you something and that disappeared. A magic show, an illusionist has thrown a spell of hypnosis, and you are seeing something and now it has disappeared. It is no longer there. And it was never there and it is no longer existing. In between you saw something. That is your illusion. It was a magic show. That is according to non-dual Vedanta. But even the Vedanta of Shankaracharya, who was one of the greatest teachers of this non-dual Vedanta, he says that for the time being, this world is very real. For the time being, world is very real. You can keep repeating the world is unreal, it is like a dream, but if somebody pokes you on your skin with a sharp something, then immediately you feel the pain and pinch. You cannot say it is unreal anymore. You can chant, but you scream out. So for the time being, when the creation is very real, very much perceptible through our five senses, very much felt through our mind, and our life, this individual being, has got a real existence between the birth and the death. For that creation, this world, with all its galaxies and all the universe around, this creation has got a creator. And that creator has got a responsibility. That creator has got a responsibility. It is a responsible creator. It is not an irresponsible ruler of the world where things are going into a mad rush of time and space. No. There is a responsible creator. And that responsibility, what is that responsibility? That responsibility is to let the life go out, play for a while, and return back to the source. So there should be a way to go back to the source. That is known as religion. When it is understood, what is the way? How to walk? Where to go? What is that which is the ultimate source from where we have all arrived? For a while we are playing here on this earth, and we have to return back there. Like small children, they go out and play with their other neighboring children. By sundown, they have to return back home. So when the sundown happens and we have to go back home, where is the home? That is the responsibility of the Creator. So whenever people, they go astray, they forget their path and their way, and they do all sorts of things, we can call it erroneously walking on the path. They are faltering, they are going away from their home. Then the mother or the father has to come out and call the Johnny or Jeannie back home and say, not there, come this side, here. And then that help has to come. And that comes according to the Vedic religion from time to time. It is not that it is a one-time show, one-time mercy, one-time grace, or the magnanimous appearance or manifestation of the divine in a human body. It is happening again and again. We find in the words of Sri Krishna, whom in India and outside also, people have accepted as one of those wonderful and the greatest manifestation of the divine in human body. And in his words, he says, whenever it becomes necessary, that is, the virtues are waning and unrighteousness is rising in the society, whenever people are going astray and they are suffering on account of that. What is the problem? If we go away from God or go on an irreligious path, not walk on the path of virtues, what is the problem? Is it not fine if I am enjoying that life? By stealing, by depriving others, by cheating, by harming others or any kind of thing, suppose, if I am enjoying. So what is the problem? Can I not live this life? I am enjoying it. Well, those who are drug addicts, they say they are enjoying their life. Those who are alcoholic, they say they are enjoying their life. But a person who is not under this kind of influence, who can see clearly, think clearly, understand better, he knows that this man is suffering. That person who is not under the influence, who is not suffering from this, that person sees clearly. This is not the way you can enjoy. This is not the way. You are going further downwardly into more darkness and into deeper level of suffering and sorrow. You are totally under illusion that you are enjoying, but you are not. Even now you are not enjoying, and you are actually damaging yourself further and further and further. So who can say so? A person who is wiser, who is on a higher ground, who is not under the problem. And he is known as your teacher. He is the spiritual teacher. Greatest of the teacher is God incarnate himself. He comes to again modify the path of human society, gives them a right direction again, so that after him, for thousands of years, hundreds of millions of billions of people will be benefited of that new directions provided. And this happens again and again. This is what we have been told, and that makes a very good sense. So when God incarnates in human body, he appears exactly like a human being. And there is difficulty in actually identifying that he is not an ordinary human being. He is very special being. He is very special person, and he has come on a special mission. And we have to remember that mission is very time bound, because he will not be there forever. It has to be done quickly, and he is special in at least two different ways. One is that he is not under the sway of the doctrine of karma or the law of cause and effect that controls the entire creation. The entire creation is happening and functioning on account of the doctrine of this causation. The world of science, we call science, we are trying to understand what is the cause and what is the effect. That is all about the physical science. And that is, there is a law of doctrine of subtle world, which is not so easily visible. We call the doctrine of karma, that actually makes it happen internally. That is, the individual soul, how the individual soul will be growing and moving forward towards the spiritual illumination, and why it doesn't go there and instead of that slips into further levels of darkness and suffering. And there comes the subtler world where also again the doctrine of cause and effect works. We call it doctrine of karma. So understanding all this together, we see that the entire creation and all creature included, human being included, they are under the sway or under the rule of the divine rule, how the whole play goes on. We call it Maya, the law, the supreme law called Maya. So all individual being, every human being, they are under the thumb of the rule, and that rule is Maya. Here is the difference. When God incarnates in human body, He is not taking another human life form because He had the compulsion of taking this birth. Every other human being, according to the doctrine of karma, is under the compulsion. They are helplessly taking birth and they are living a life because of the doctrine of karma. And they are experiencing their pleasure and pain one after another, and as much of pleasure, as much of pain, as they have been provided by the doctrine of karma. So they are totally under the control of that supreme rule, under Mahamaya. She is controlling, she is the controller. As we from the Vedanta we look at it. This Mahamaya, we figure it out or we picture it like a goddess, but it is beyond all the concept of sex. We should not think about it. Is it male, female? Who is God? Or Brahman is a male principle? No, it is not. It is one and the same. The supreme power, the divine being, when it is not manifesting itself in the form of the entire creation, then it is non-dual Brahman. And when it plays in the form of this creation, then it plays with its own power. That Brahman and its own power. And that power is given the name of Maya or Mahamaya. That is playing. Entire creation is under this rule of whatever this Maya is dictating. But when it is God incarnated in human body, we call the avatar. We say that it has come many, many times in the past to help human being again know the real path or the way. And it has assured that I shall come back again. Whenever the time is right or whenever it will be needed, I shall come. That is a special manifestation which is not under Maya. This is one thing we have to understand about the avatar. If we don't understand these two things, then we really don't understand what is this happening, what is going on there. So one is that this special manifestation, Jesus Christ or Krishna or Buddha, or in our time we believe Ramakrishna or Chaitanya, they did not take birth as a ordinary human being because they were not under any kind of compulsion. It is not that they did some good and bad karma in their previous birth and that's why they have to take a human birth and suffer this way. No, this is one. And another is that they have got a mission very clearly cut out. That mission is to help people, to help his children see the light, see the way and be able to come out of this darkness. He has got a special mission. But as I mentioned, that when he takes the birth as a human, in a human body, then it is so hard to recognize him. He is a master actor. Another Sunday I was telling that he could have won so many Oscar best actors prize because he exactly like a human being, the God incarnated in human body, like Jesus Christ. But who knows he is God? Who knew him? When he was living, nobody. Only a small handful number of people, that too when he allowed them to know. Until then, nobody can detect him, that he is out of this world, a personality walking among us just like a human being. He has got pain and pleasure, he has got hunger and thirst, and he gets tired and he needs sleeping, and he's just like us. He's just like us. So this is what makes him to do something special. Something special means because he needs a bunch of people who would be able to know him, and thereafter who would be able to carry his mission after he's gone. If he reveals himself very openly in front of everybody, that large number of people will recognize him, then those large number of people with their very problematic head, they will approach him to solve their problem, Oh my God, God has himself come with us, and so God, please solve this problem, that problem, like that. They have got, everybody has got a whole lot of problem, and they will make his life unbearable. So he keeps hiding, and then when it is time for him to go, before that time, he makes sure that he reveals his divine being, the special authority and message to a handful number of people. Handful number of people. We find in Sri Ramakrishna's life story that in the Gospel, those who have read it, in the Gospel of Ramakrishna, that he who was so humble, occasionally in front of him somebody is praising him, and he said, no, don't say like that. I am the dust of the feet of the devotee of Krishna, he said. I am dust of the feet of the devotees. Don't say like that. Because some of the devotees, you are like this. No, don't talk like that. That kind of a humble man, he occasionally tried to open himself up to people. In one of the instances we find that there is a Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar, who was a very wonderful person, and he was very rational-minded, very intelligent and all. He would not take anything unless and until he has understood it and believed it. It is nothing superficial he can tolerate. And suddenly he is trying to explain to him about one of his behavior. I am not going into that detail. When Mahendra was saying that he is a wonderful man, why he should be allowed to do like that, etc., etc., about Sri Ramakrishna, talking to other devotees. Then Sri Ramakrishna is telling to another gentleman whose name was Ishana, who was a very scholarly person and read many scriptures, and he tried to tell him, why don't you explain to the doctor that it is a different thing. When God incarnates in human body, it is not exactly like human body. There we see his eagerness to come out in the open and make people understand that here it is not an ordinary human being. Occasionally he is trying to make M, the author of the gospel, to understand. He tries to ask him when everybody goes, did you understand this thing? Did you understand that thing? And when once or twice he said, yes, it is the same divine being who played in the form of Jesus Christ or Sri Chaitanya has come back again in the world. He felt so kind of relieved and pleased, and he patted his back and said, oh, it is so good that you have understood it. It is not about that he will gain from there and he will become famous and people will come to him and he will offer them. No, it is about let some people understand before I leave. He made it understand to Narendranath occasionally. And couple of months before his final passing away, a few months before that, he made it to understand a larger number of group. That famous incident on 1st January in 1886. Now, this is a kind of a deep-rooted interest in the heart of the God incarnate, when he has to go and then he will tell people that it is not ordinary being, it is God incarnate in human body. Understand it. If they understand, then their ability to explain it to people will be better. This is what he is telling to Thomas, Saint Thomas, when he said that I am the way. Means this is the way. Look at me, and when you have seen me and when you have followed me, then you have actually seen God himself and you are actually following his path. And no one will reach him without going through me means that unless you have followed the God incarnate or avatar, how can you understand what God is? Is it ever possible? It reminds us of the famous parable of Sri Ramakrishna when he says that there were four friends who are passing through a big field, and there was a very high wall all along, and nothing could be seen on what is there on the other side. So one of the parables says that these friends, they said, okay, let us see what is there. So they helped one of the friends and he climbed the wall, and whatever he saw, he said, ha ha ha, like that, and jumped. That is written there. He was so amazed and happy, and he could not contain his happiness, jumped on the other side. So this side, these three friends, they had no idea what he saw. So they sent this another friend, he also did the same. This way they kept jumping. And what is there on the other side is not known to this side, people here. Then, in another part of not the same parable, it is there that eventually there was a small hole in the wall. There was a small hole in the wall, otherwise the wall was very high and all along it was wall. So it was what is going on there could not be seen. There was a small hole, and then you come to the hole, and through that hole you could see a portion of the infinite vast other side, and the joy and the wonderful thing was visible from that small hole. And then he asked M, did you understand what happened? Then M, the gospel writer, says, yes, you are that hole. You are that hole. Through you we can understand, we can realize, we can feel that the other side, which is otherwise not visible, it is just all covered. Big wall is there. We can climb that wall. Nothing can be seen. This is the meaning of avatar. And this is the divine side of the God incarnate in human body. When Jesus says that I am the way, and no one can see Father except through me, it is not a very egotistic statement that only as this particular form one can see. It is the God incarnate in human body. Out of his sheer compassion, he is revealing the truth that come through the God incarnate, and his path, his way, is the way to reach the Father in heaven. That's why he again and again repeats that, follow me, follow me, follow me. So when we find that as the meaning, and when we release ourselves from all sorts of doctrinal wordings and just feel free to believe in all-pervading one divine being who out of his endless mercy and compassion appeared in many, many different forms and helped people to come through any way that they can reach him, then we better understand what Jesus said, that I am the way and you cannot see the Father without seeing through me. Thank you.
Leading us higher and